Good morning. My name is Susan Reardon, and I call the meeting of Wednesday, April 13th to order. Today we have one item on the consent calendar, which is time extension, and then two projects on the regular agenda. And I haven't received any requests for continuances or withdrawals, so we'll hear them in the order that they appear on the agenda. Under announcements and appeals, I have no announcements, and there's been no recent appeals. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to address the staff hearing officer on items not on today's agenda? No, seeing no one, I'll go to the consent calendar. Like I said, the consent calendar is a request for a time extension. It's actually a one-year time extension of a tentative subdivision map, a coastal development permit, and a modification that was approved by the Planning Commission back in 2009. And the property address is 203 Chapala Street. They're requesting the new expiration date to be June 11th of 2011. And 217, yes, I said 11 again, huh? 17. I was just checking to see if you're listening. Good job. You passed that test. I've read the staff report and agree with staff's analysis that the project still continues to be in conformance with the general plan and the zoning ordinance. There hasn't really been any significant changes to either one of those, well, general plan, but it still conforms with that. And you are only requesting a one-year time extension, which is appropriate. You're really close to the end line to get it recorded. And my only concern would be if you were asking for a longer amount of time, because we are in the process of updating our zoning ordinance, and I don't know if or how it would affect the project, but you're asking for a one-year time extension. It's appropriate. So I can follow staff's recommendation and approve your one-year time extension. So the new date is June 11th of 2017 for both the coastal development permit, the CDP, and the modification. My actions on time extensions are actually appealable. It's appealable to the City Council, and it's actually 15 days instead of the standard 10 days, so just to let you know. I approve your one-year time extension. So we'll go to the first item on the regular agenda, which is 1735 Bath Street, if the applicant would like to come up. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Anytime you're ready.
Okay. This property is zoned R4, and it's a 5,289 square foot lot. The current development on site consists of a 1,273 square foot, one-story single-family dwelling with a detached 170 square foot one-car garage and an as-built fence and trellis. The proposed project involves demolition of the garage, the trellis, and the fence, and construction of a new 218 square foot one-car garage that will meet the setback requirements, and for 49 square foot of first-story additions and 576 square foot of second-story additions, a new 3-foot high fence on top of an existing wall for a cumulative height of 5.5 feet. The proposal will address violations outlined in a zoning information report. An administrative height exception is being requested for the overheight walls and fences and for an overheight hedge on a wall. The residence has been added to the city's list of potential historic resources. The request before you today is a front setback modification to allow a conforming second-story addition to a property that is non-conforming to the secondary property frontage along Islay Street because the required setback is 10 feet and it is located approximately 8.5 feet from the front property line on the secondary frontage. Like I said, the existing dwelling is non-conforming to this setback here, and here is where it's located, and this is the current setback. And the proposal is to add a conforming second-story addition to the house. The second-story addition complies with the required setbacks, but because it will change the basic exterior characteristics of the one-story building that is located in the setback, it requires modification approval. The structure was added to the city's potential historic resource list in December 2015, and the city historian reviewed the project and stated that a historic structure/site report was not required because the proposed additions will not have a negative impact to the building, and the proposal meets the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. The project site is also looking in archaeological sensitivity areas, and the applicant provided an archaeological letter report which concluded that it's unlikely that artifacts would be encountered during construction, but recommended that the standard unanticipated archaeological resources condition be included. So staff has included a condition to that effect. The project was reviewed by the Historic Landmarks Commission and was continued indefinitely to the staff hearing officer with comments. Staff supports the request for the front setback modification because the proposed additions are conforming to the setbacks. They will not have a negative impact on the existing historic structure, and the proposal will meet the Secretary's of Interior standards for rehabilitation. Staff would like the proposal approved and supported subject to the findings and conditions outlined in the staff report. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Okay, great. Thank you. I don't have any questions at this time. Would you like to state your name for the record and provide additional comments?
Yeah, Lisa Stid Silver.
Okay.
And so you don't have any questions about?
Well, my question was actually just, it didn't really pertain to the mod per se, but it was regarding the administrative fence height ordinance exception that you're requesting. This existing hedge, is it for this existing hedge here, or is it going to be, right here there's no fence, but it does indicate a new gate and fence. So are you proposing just to wall off the whole property?
No, so what we're proposing, this would be new fence here. That's the 5.5 feet total that we were talking about. So there'll be a 3-foot fence kind of on the inside face, the yard face of the wall, the existing wall, along Bath. And the hedge, the exception will be for the hedge here. Currently it's about 10.5 feet from sidewalk side, right? So we're talking about, and I've actually put in a email to Danny. I haven't heard back from him with that, but we're proposing to trim this hedge down to a height that we think will be acceptable.
Which is what, 8 feet total?
7.5 feet total. From the sidewalk.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That was my only question, since it is more curiosity because it's a historic structure or potential historic structure, and then walling it all off so no one can enjoy it.
No.
I was just wondering.
No, and I've gone over this with Nicole, met her at the site, and she's seen obviously what we're proposing, and she supports too. Sorry, yeah, she supports what we're anticipating or proposing.
Okay. In terms of the mod, it's pretty straightforward.
Correct.
I appreciate the fact that the additions are proposed all outside of the setback, and it's more of just recognizing what's there. Based on my site visit, it appeared probably at some time this was actually an exterior porch or a sleeping porch that over time windows were added, and it's not incorporated into the house. It's still separate, exactly. But that's what appears to have happened over time. So, that wasn't it. So that was just my question. It was more of just curiosity regarding the admin fence height.
Okay. Yeah, so in the other, just again pulling the new garage in so that it's now conforming. And then the outdoor living space, worked with that, and so I feel we have a great project for this neighborhood.
Yeah. And you're R4, so it's a smaller area that you need to provide. Okay, so I'd like to open the public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address the staff hearing officer on 1735 Bath Street? No, seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. I did go out to the site and walked around, and since it was a front setback modification, I viewed a lot of it from the street because that's the important aspect of the project in terms of my review, because I'm focusing on zoning versus design, which is a whole other design board. And I looked at the area and surrounding properties, and like I said in the comment part, I appreciate that you are respecting the existing zoning ordinance, and we're just recognizing what is there. It meets solar, so solar wouldn't be an issue, which may be another trigger in terms of whether this is an appropriate improvement for granting relief from the setback requirements. So I can find that it is an appropriate improvement and consistent with the zoning ordinance. I would like to alter condition 1 just slightly. It requires that administrative height exception be obtained, but what if you can't? Some reason it's not supportable. So I'm saying you either obtain it or the fence wall height combo shall be lowered to meet zoning ordinance requirements.
Right.
So I'm not going to make a determination on either way whether it conforms or not. But if it's not, for some reason it can't be granted, then it does need to, which needs to comply with zoning. So with that revised condition, I can make the findings as outlined in the staff report. And my action is appealable to the Planning Commission within 10 calendar days. And they also have oversight authority of all my actions. And if they felt this warranted additional discussion before them, they could call it up during that same 10-day appeal period. And if either of those would occur, Joanne would contact you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll go to the next item, which is 725 West Arriaga Street, if the applicant would like to come up. Good morning.
Good morning.
Anytime you're ready.
This property is zoned R2, and it's a 5,500 square foot lot. Current development on site consists of a one-story, 819 square foot single-family dwelling and a detached 149 square foot one-car carport, 212 square feet of as-built additions in these two locations, and an as-built playground structure, which is located here. The proposed project involves permitting the as-built additions to the dwelling and removing the as-built play structure at the rear from the property. The proposed total of 1,180 square feet is 46% of the guideline floor to lot area ratio. The proposal will address a violation in the zoning information report. The request before you today is an open yard modification of the location and/or to reduce the size of the required open yard. The project is exempt from review by the Single Family Design Board. The proposal includes permitting the as-built additions, which will reduce the size of the required open yard area. The as-built additions will meet the setback requirements, and the as-built playground structure is proposed to be removed from the property. The zoning ordinance requires 1,250 square feet of open yard area, which may be provided in multiple locations with minimum dimensions of 20 feet by 20 feet. The property without the additions was conforming to open yard requirements with approximately 1,287 square feet of open yard that met the zoning ordinance requirements. The proposal will reduce the size of the open yard to 1,005 square feet, which is shown in this area right here. That meets the zoning ordinance requirement, but there's also this area along here which doesn't meet the minimum dimensions, but it is contiguous to the open yard, and if you count this area, it's approximately 1,500 square feet total. The property is undersized for the R2 zone because the lot size is 5,500 square feet, where 7,000 square feet would be required today. And staff is in support of the open yard modification because of the undersized R2 lot and the location of the existing development on site, which is set back from the street, and because the remaining open yard is still usable. In addition, the open yard fulfills the intent of the requirements and allows for a minor expansion of this small residence while maintaining the existing neighborhood character. Site inspection of the property showed some miscellaneous stored items in the setbacks in the open yard area. Therefore, staff has included a condition to address these items and to address the zoning violation in the zoning information report. Our staff would like the proposal approved and supported, subject to the findings and conditions outlined in the staff report.
Okay, thank you, Joanne. One just further thing, if you can just clarify for people who may be watching or what. Okay, you talk about there's a little over 1,000 square feet of open yard area in the back, but there's a nice area here, 28 feet by probably another 20 or 30 this way. Can you just explain what the requirements are and why this area technically wouldn't comply? Because in terms of the R2 zone, you can have open yard area in the remaining front yard, but it needs to be at least 20 feet in dimension and 800 square feet.
And a certain back from the
property line. Yeah, so that's why this area here, although it is a nice area, looks like usable, and you have it actually landscaped, or the property owner landscaped to be used, it technically doesn't meet the requirement because it's within the required setback, and the remaining front yard part doesn't meet the minimum dimension. So, okay, great, thank you. Would you like to state your name for the record?
My name is Patricio Nava. I'm representing the owner of this project.
Do you have anything you would like to add?
No, I just wanted your help on this project since the family is growing and they really need this mod. Mm-hmm. And it won't be altering the site a lot because otherwise we need to go to story and it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm. So this is just recognizing existing development that was added without the proper approvals, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Sorry about that.
Great. Oh, no, that's fine. I'd like to open the public hearing. There's no one here. Have we received any?
No, we have not received any correspondence.
Okay. So I'll close the public hearing. I did go out to the site, and I actually observed, which was noted in the staff report, that there's a lot of stuff stored all over, and I saw there's a condition that it be removed from the areas. Also, I'd like to add that the carport, too, had stuff in it when I was out there, so that needs to be cleared out so it's available for parking, such as is the required parking for the site. In terms of your requested modification, like Joanne said, it is a small lot. The house that's on there, the legal house that's on there is small. It's 861 square feet, and so in terms of adding on to it, it is an appropriate improvement for the site to accommodate, growing family, or even make the usable area more usable. And although you are reducing the conforming open yard area, there is more than adequate areas on other places of the site. Although it doesn't meet the zoning ordinance requirement, it does provide the purpose of the open yard area. There's a hedge and fence area, so this is fenced off where kids can play, or you can sit outside. I think when I was there's actually a patio table here that you can use to enjoy it. So there is adequate area on site to enjoy the outside amenities, even though it is a small lot, and the area of the addition is small, just a little bit over. The combined total is just a little bit over 200 square feet. So I can make the findings outlined in the staff report and approve the projects, including approve the project subject to the conditions that staff proposed, including the addition of clearing out the carport and having it be accessible for parking.
Okay.
Okay. So I'll make the findings with those revised conditions. My action is appealable to the Planning Commission within 10 calendar days. And they also have oversight authority of all my actions. And if they felt this warranted additional discussion before them, they could call it up during that same 10-day review period. And if either of those were to occur, Joanne would contact you. Okay?
Thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Have a nice day.
You too. I adjourn the meeting.
Melody, what you gonna do when the night